You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Sir Lana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Spaceboy, and across from me is the lovely Sir Lana, and this is Spaceboy Universe. It is September 1st, and we are on show number 2.32, and we're going to be talking about a little bit about Hollywood Symbolism. That's right. As always, you can follow us on Twitter. That's at the SB Universe. Follow Sir Lana at Sir Lana. Follow Spaceboy. That's me at Spaceboy Music. Of course, tonight, make sure to hashtag your tweets tonight with hashtag SB Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. In addition to Twitter, you can find us pretty much all over social media. Just search for Spaceboy Universe. Hey, Space Cadets, you'll want to check out our YouTube channel because, man, we've been doing some major renovations over there. We do more than the archive of shows there. That's right, there is video content from SB Music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamers, and so much more. Hit that subscribe button and click that bell to be notified when new content is available. Hey, can't catch the show live? No problemo. Take the SBU on the go with you via Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartMedia, and Spotify. Man, because we love to broadcast. And on that magical note, let me bring in the lovely Sir Lana. How are you tonight, Sir Lana?
Much better than last Saturday.
Well, there was a lot of things we did last Saturday. We took an SBU work day. You know how when students go to school and then they get like a day off and it's a teacher day?
I was in pain.
I know you were in pain.
I couldn't do the show.
But, I was working on stuff for the YouTube channel. And
I just had a root canal.
And in addition, Comcast...
oh, yes. We couldn't have done it anyway.
We couldn't have broadcasted anyway because...
There was a problem.
There was a kink in the system. So
Literally.
Yeah, so basically, we wwere pretty much down for the count over the weekend.
You how that happened?
No, they didn't. Oh. So, but the thing is that, I had, a replay all ready to go and I had to program it, but I didn't have the bandwidth to upload the dang thing and get it all packaged properly. So it wasn't until the next day that the show went up. So it was a rebroadcast of our Dulce Wars Underground Bass episode.
Good show.
Yeah, so it's out there.
So even if we had a show, we would have been kind of screwed.
Yeah, we would have, because bandwidth, in order for us to properly do this show, we need at least 15 megabytes of speed to upload, and we were getting like 1 megabyte.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
You can't even browse a web page with that.
No, I mean, sure, we had enough. Download speeds were
phenomenal.
We pay for 75 megabytes per second for download. And, but we were getting like around 30 to 15, it was fluctuating in there. Enough to watch regular internet, traffic.
Right.
But the thing is that we run the SBU on uploads and not necessarily downloads. So we could have good upload speeds, but if we don't, or download speeds, but if without the upload, we're screwed. So, they got it fixed, and apparently they said it was a kink in the system. And but our broadcasting power is back in full force, and thank God, because man, that just really just chapped my hide more than you could imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm here when you get mad. So, yeah, I'd had a root canal and I had an infection. It was kind of bad, and they shot me. I lost count at the 6th numbing injection. After that, they just kept going. I was pumped full of so much numbing medication on Friday. The next day, I was so nauseated and dizzy. I kept telling you, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just can't get my head stop spinning. So I took a day and a half to recover that, but I'm not sorry I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was kind of like just the forces working against us last Saturday.
Well, like I said, you were out, but I was very productive when it came to the YouTube channel, because we're changing up a few things here at the Universe, and as we celebrate our 3rd year on the air later this month, the last weekend of the month will be our 3rd year broadcasting, and I took a chance to look at how we enjoy what we enjoy doing in general, and sure, we've enjoyed making the broadcast, but we're creators, and we've always been creators. And Sirlana does her art, and I used to do a lot of video and more commentary, and we have all this wonderful equipment for video, and we hadn't really been using it to its full potential. And so I was like, okay, we're kind of shifting gears to be more creators. And when I say creators, like, YouTube creators and Twitch creators. And so that's what's coming down the pipe, and as things kind of rumble down that you, the listener, will become the visual watcher of this content. And, of course, Sirlana is not going to technically be there, but
No.
You'll hear her voice from time to time, but
who needs to see that?
So, but yeah, right now, if you go to our YouTube channel, we've got great content that we've been putting up there. There's a lot of complaining about Star Wars, but it is the nature of the beast lately.
Well, at least you have an outlet now to get all that out there and put it somewhere where I can opt out of listening to it.
But anyway, so yeah, we do encourage you to go to there, and when I say there, I'm referring to YouTube, and check out the site. Just search for Spaceboy Universe, like I said in the beginning, and definitely subscribe and click that bell so you know when there's new stuff up there, and we'll keep that rolling as we start building our subscriber base on YouTube. It's a little low, but it's something we haven't really pushed because we've been really pushing the broadcast here at the SBU, and a lot of the SBU broadcast is not going to change in that sense, but you're going to definitely see a lot more content on the YouTube channel and future Twitch, and us playing games, me making commentary about different things, and then also we do video before the show, and then
we recorded some tonight, and
then there's some more content that I recorded without Sirlana that to just kind of build that. So a lot of interesting stuff.
We do some gaming stuff. I need a new headset for that.
We gotta figure all that out for you.
We do have a Twitch channel. We're just not on it yet.
Yeah, coming soon. But anyway, so that's what's coming down the pipe. What to look forward to, and we'll, as we get to the anniversary show, we'll talk more about that. So I've been rambling on. Sirlana, what you got over there?
Oh, you ready for me now?
Yeah, lay it on us.
I just found this. This is gonna sound like an advertisement, and I don't mean it that way.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a kind of like a what? And I want to see what you think about it.
Okay, I'm preparing my what.
Sprint's new unlimited premium plan comes with an Amazon Prime subscription.
Okay.
They're introducing a new top-tier unlimited data option. You and I already have just the basic unlimited, because we're hardcore. So they're calling it the Unlimited Premium. It's $90 a month if you set up auto pay, which it includes subscriptions to Hulu with commercials, Tidal Premium, 50 gigs of LTE hotspot data, 1080p video streaming, and usual international service perks like global roaming, free talk, text, and LTE in Mexico and Canada in case I get kidnapped and taken away. So
let me get this straight. We already have Amazon, we have Hulu, and
you have Hulu. I don't.
Well, you act like it's not even accessible for you. You have Hulu in the big TV in there. I know you don't usually look at Hulu. Most of the time we're streaming YouTube. I admit that. And then secondly, it's Amazon. But, I do occasionally look at Hulu to see what is not on the other two channels that we listen to.
Because he doesn't read.
It has nothing. I had this conversation with you earlier about, there are some things that are just not on books, and that's why I watch on television.
But there's so many books you could find something really similar.
Okay, here's a good example. Better Call Saul. That's not on a book.
I'm gonna do some Googling for you.
The thing is that I enjoy watching TV. It goes back to when I was a kid. I probably got a lot of radiation from sitting in front of the television when I was a kid back in the 70s. And so, those big old tubes and, watching television off of a big screen Magnavox with a stereo built into it, record player and all that good stuff. So, anyway,
so they're saying the most interesting thing about Sprint's latest plan here has nothing to do with mobile service. Mm-hmm. It's Amazon Prime membership. Amazon Prime runs $119 per year by itself if you buy it with Amazon. So Sprint's math says, they claim, these services could cost at least $130. So customers on this plan would get a $40 monthly savings, which equals to nearly $500 savings in 1 year. The company is also throwing in a free $20 monthly Uber credit for customers who sign up for unlimited premium in the near future, offering $10 bill discount. People bring their own devices or buy one at full retail cost.
So you said Uber, or so they're giving you a bonus for watching your phone.
How far can you get on $10 on Uber?
I don't know.
Get down to 7-Eleven and back?
It's kind of like what gets delivered through Uber to our house.
Now, Sprint's quick to point out Amazon has no direct involvement with this plan. Mm-hmm. No official partnership. It's just to sweeten the pot for Sprint. So now they have Unlimited Basic, which I think is what we have, Unlimited Plus, which is 15 gigs of LTE, HD streaming at 1080p, unlimited talk text, 10 gigs of 4G LTE data, which I have yet to see beyond the places we go. Text and data over 185 worldwide destinations, $10 more line. Then you move to this one, Unlimited Premium, where you get Prime, Hulu, Tidal, Lookout, wherever that is, 50 gigs of LTE.
Whoa, back up for a second. In Sadie Hawkins' dance, I'm not going to pay for Tidal.
I don't know what that's all about.
Tidal is with the group Jay-Z.
I know what Tidal is. I'm just thinking, if you're missing the rap music on Spotify, that's where you go.
No, it's more than just rap music.
You can get 50 gigs of LTE, full HD streaming, unlimited talk text, 4G LTE text, all that good stuff.
It's starting to sound like a commercial.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if this is the way people are going to get access to.
Let's back up here for a second. You have an Amazon app to watch movies, right? Mm-hmm. I know you don't have a Hulu app.
No, I used to, but
YouTube.
Yes.
Okay, you got an app there, right?
Yes.
And you listen to Spotify because I know you too well.
Yes.
We both do.
I love Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify's great. Who doesn't love Spotify?
People who don't use it.
People who don't like Tidal. Anyway, so the thing is that we already have these subscriptions to all this other stuff, and we have apps to watch it on, and most of the time we watch stuff through our Wi-Fi connection, unless there's not like a good connection, and then or a Wi-Fi connection available, then we switch off to the LTE. But I guess what I'm saying is I'm not going to pay more money to Sprint to pay for stuff we already have.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny you bring this subject up because, I got an email the other day from CBS All Access. and they were saying, "Please come back to us. Please come back to us."
Really?
Yes.
Did you
but
get rid of it or something?
No, that's the funny thing is
You still have it?
I have CBS Access through Amazon. I'm paying.
Oh, they don't know.
Yeah, I
They can't tell,
I
huh?
canceled the subscription to CBS Access Direct and went directly to Amazon because
Because
they
it's
don't.
easier to get it through.
Yeah, because they don't have an app or anything like
Yeah.
that for our Samsung television.
Yeah, it's just a better way to
Yeah.
access it.
Exactly.
For you.
It's like kind of like it's a one-type access to the majority of the programs and the video files and libraries that we purchase. And it was like, okay, I can get CBS All Access on Amazon and have all my TV channels, quote unquote, like because I get HBO, I get what is it? I can't remember the other ones. I guess I get Cinemax. No, I don't get Cinemax. I don't get Showtime. Yeah, I get Showtime, don't I? I can't remember. The point is
Yeah,
that
it's
I've got all these paid channels and I'm paying through Amazon, and it's kind of like having an internet cable kind of thing. That makes sense to you, Solana?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. I'm glad we could agree on something tonight. So I guess at the end of the story is that I'm not going to pay for it. So, hey, speaking of paying for it, I'm excited that I've been monitoring my cryptocurrency that I've been purchasing, and I've seen where I bought in at. There was like kind of a loss of money that went kind of down. I was like, okay, this is not the time to panic and try to pull my money out. But now it's all the way back up and it's starting to break even, and I'm pretty excited because. Because of the things I've been hearing through the grapevine, it's by the end of this year, cryptocurrency is going to shoot through the roof, and so I'm excited that my cryptocurrency is going up, and that's always good.
I have a little side note to that.
Okay.
There's this company. It's a Japanese messaging app, and it's called Line. They're launching their own cryptocurrency to get more active users. And they're doing that so their users can buy stickers and webtoons, kind of like you do on Messenger.
Wait, so they're launching their own cryptocurrency so you can buy their crap?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
It's not really...
And other services.
I mean, can the cryptocurrency they're buying be converted to yen or to other...
She says their own cryptocurrency exchange, Bitbox, launched in June, releasing 800 million tokens as part of a reward system. They will hope this will incentivize users to participate more in the app because I guess their lazy bones aren't doing enough and they're not spending enough. So they await approval from the authorities for both its cryptocurrency exchange and its own digital currency. It's kind of crazy, but you understand their culture is a little different. They're kind of into that sort of thing, cutesy stuff. And I just thought that was just an interesting aside to your story.
I'm investing into cryptocurrency to make more money. It's kind of like you keep calling it like the stock exchange.
It's mirroring it exactly.
And I look at it as an investment, and hopefully my investment pays off. So that's how I look at it. But I couldn't imagine spending money on cryptocurrency, and the only thing that I'm buying out of that is I'm getting some anime sticker, Well, what's that show I recently bought into for Netflix?
Agretsuko.
Oh, I love that show. Yeah, the Red Panda.
I don't have a problem with it. It's interesting.
It's fun.
It just couldn't hold my attention long enough.
Right. Well, it's got its moments, but anyway, I enjoyed the show, so it is what it is. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm not gonna. That's just nuts.
Well, that's probably why I pointed it out to you, so you'd have something to talk about. But, you pointed out we're on YouTube. We've been on YouTube. This show is archived there, but we've got new content coming every day. We've got videos and whatnot. Because we are content creators in a way, and we are on YouTube, we always keep our eye on what's going on there. And we get 80% of our entertainment from YouTube. It says, PewDiePie's reign as the biggest YouTube channel may soon be over, and his fans aren't happy about it. Now, he knows this as well. He's done a video dedicated to this, and he keeps referencing it. He's referenced it since then. So Felix PewDiePie Schellberg has owned that crown for so long, it's just crazy to think that another YouTube channel could surpass him. Right now, Pewds is sitting on 86 sitting on 65 million subscribers. But there is a channel that is not owned by a person. I think it's a conglomerate or something, that's about to overtake him. The channel is called T-Series. It is an Indian music production company. It's a company. They have been trailing PewDiePie for some now at 59 million subscribers, about to be 60 million. So they've been growing at a rate about of 141,000 subscribers per day. Now Schulberg, he's gone into being a Let's Play gamer channel to commentary, try not to laugh, just, keeping his finger on the pulse of what's going on the net. So he knows that they're probably going to overtake him before the end of the year. So according to the algorithm, he goes, now, tongue-in-cheek way, PewDiePie says, it's time for us to fight back. He jokingly says he has pretend antagonism. As recent as, Logan Paul KSI event shows, rivalries play a huge role on YouTube. People seem to like that. So he pretends to have this rivalry with this other channel, which is really nothing to it. But it'll be interesting to see if they do overtake it because of the content and the sheer volume of people in that country, because they're just more active than the rest of the people in the world. So I just think that's funny that he may fall from his throne. And I don't think he's bothered by it.
Yeah, so I do know that in the early days of our YouTube channel, we did get a lot of hits from India. Because when I was marketing, a lot of people looking at some of our music videos that back in the day. So I'm not surprised. I mean, it is a largely populated country.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense that as time moves forward, that that country comes into its own when dealing with social media. And YouTube is a fun way to put videos out there.
I would rather watch people's home videos of cats than 90% of what's in the theater right now. But that's just me.
Cats?
Yeah, I love watching cat videos.
And clouds?
I don't watch cloud videos.
Why don't you? I mean,
I don't think they exist.
Well, I mean, you're already taking pictures,
Let's talk about California. They're actually doing something awesome.
Okay.
For once. They're leading the state-by-state fight for net neutrality if these other states are ready to join. So when they repealed net neutrality, it was the most unpopular tech policy decision in the history of the modern internet world. It created an unprecedented public backlash. Numerous states began to immediately exploring state-level alternatives, even though the government, the FCC, said, good luck, you're not going to get that done. So, one of the fight on the federal level, telecom giants like AT&T, Verizon, Comcast faced countless state-level efforts to keep their monopoly power in check, because of course they would. Now, on the federal level, the FCC's Restoring Internet Freedom Order not only obliterated popular net neutrality rules, but crippled the agency's ability to protect consumers from a seemingly endless parade of bad ISP behavior, like obnoxious fees, terrible customer service, skyrocketing broadband prices, throttling speeds, and prioritizing content over other content. So the broadband industry's victory on net neutrality quickly soured. More than half the states in this union began exploring own state-level protections. Executive orders in Montana banning states from doing business with anti-competitive ISPs to a new net neutrality law in Washington state. Lawmakers have quickly picked up the slack in face of federal apathy. So I don't know how much can be done at the state level if the federal holds all the keys and policies. I don't know. There's no examples of a federal agency surrendering its authority on this. So But they're trying to do something in California by pushing a state-level replacement to the FCC rules. And it's been kind of rocky doing that. It's like trying to fight out of your weight. You know what I'm saying? You just I don't know how they're going to do it. Comcast and Verizon successfully lobbied the FCC to include language in its repeal, attempting to preempt or block states from protecting broadband customers. These people are not on our side. The ones that provide us the link to the content that we want, they're not in it for our benefit. They're just in it for the money. They don't care. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. This is a big article here, but it's just Comcast lobby has been trying to make a similar but more flimsy legal argument, trying to keep the repeal in place. I really think the repeal was a maneuver to get the head of FCC into a CEO position in one of these providers like AT&T, Comcast. He would get on their good side by doing something they would want, and he'll get set for life, I think, regardless of what we need and what we want, what's best for us.
All right. So on that note, should we go ahead and hit the break early and, come back and...
All the thing I was going to tell you is finally Star Trek franchise will be honored by Emmys with a 2018 Governor's Award, and it's about dang time.
Okay. I'm trying not to get all riled up about Star Trek.
Well, there's nothing really to rile up about.
Oh, come on. Haven't you seen the new previews for the season 2 of Star Trek Discovery?
I don't watch Star Trek Discovery. Why would I care?
Well, it is a part of our mission statement with pop culture. But
you take care of it then.
Yeah, the thing is that the season 2 trailer has been out for a while, since Comic-Con out in San Diego. And so, it's got going to have Spock in it. And, the early days. And so, anyway... see, I didn't want to go down this path.
Well, don't go down this.
It's
down
almost
this
like
path.
whipping open a can of Ryan Johnson with Star Wars.
All right, let's just kill it now.
Anyway, I will just say this about Star Wars. Now you brought it up.
No,
is that I'm a big fan of Mike Zero. He's a YouTuber out there, and Ryan Johnson is just a big bully. And, I think that if you get a chance, go to YouTube, check out Mike Zero. He does a lot of videos promoting the future of Star Wars and the rumors that are coming down. And recently in a Twitter rant, Ryan Johnson said some negative things, and he's just the big bully. Anyway, so there you go. I'll say that, and then you'll just have to check our YouTube channel for the big munch of information.
That's a great idea. Save your big rants for the video.
There's video out there that's coming, so you'll just have to check. So anyway, I'm Spaceboy, she's Herlana, and we make up the dynamic duo of Spaceboy Universe. Explore with us. Don't touch that dial.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sirlana.
This is author Jordan Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Ronnie.
Are we live? I guess we are. I guess just wasn't
What the
prepared
heck
for
are
that.
you doing?
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. No, I was taking a selfie over here. That's what I was doing.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
It is important. People want to see funny things behind the scenes. So, it is what it is.
Sorry, I'm more jaded and cynical than you are. So.
Yeah, I know, but I was meant to be a part of this time. Actually, I was a ham when I was a kid. I loved being in pictures. Getting in front of the camera and everything.
Our pictures have our hands over our face like we're criminals.
Yeah, so this picture taking thing with the camera and stuff, I'm into the selfie thing.
I'm going to sneeze.
Okay,
I'm sorry. It's going to happen.
You're going to sneeze and then you're going to do dubstep with your burp?
No. Why do you...
Look, I think it's entertaining.
Did I piss you off or something?
No, I think it's entertaining that your burps, when you burp, you do dubstep.
Why are we even talking about this? That's a private marriage thing. We're not talking about farts and poops or anything else like that.
Look, I didn't go there.
No, we don't go there.
I might have mentioned that Mark Wahlberg in Boogie Nights. Well, that wasn't 100% really him.
Yeah, it's also not 100% his last name either. So
Anyway,
you want to get into the topic tonight?
Okay, let's go ahead, man.
We can talk about this
killer.
crap more if you'd like to.
Well, anyway, so what's our topic tonight, Solana?
Well, the topic is it's supposed to be Hollywood symbolism.
It's supposed to be, but it's not.
Well, it is, but when I was researching this, when I think of the word symbol, you're thinking about an image, a picture, and I didn't really run across that specific thing.
What you're saying is you came across themes, is what you instead of symbols.
It's more about predictive programming, but they can use symbols as part of a message.
Well, I know that that reminded me of Solaris Blue Raven when you said the predictive programming stuff and MK Ultra and stuff like that. And so it sounds like it's well, it sounds like it is a fascinating topic once you start diving into it.
This is a big topic, and of course we are by no means the first people to do this. There's tons of documentaries and TV shows and videos about this.
And I replied to you on that subject is that sure, everybody else has done it, but have they done it?
Have they done it like you?
I'm sorry. I've been reading tweets, and it's been some pretty bad grammar, and let me tell you. So I say they haven't done it the Spaceboy Universe way.
Well, I pick and chose what I found to be fascinating, and it might be the case of where I'm just the last person to know about some of these.
Catalina says it's a great, fascinating topic. Thank you. I appreciate you backing me up on that one.
Your $10 will be in PayPal shortly. So, yeah, but I had known about this concept, let's put it. So this is my first diving into it, and because of constraints during the day, and I had a limited research. But what I did get into, I found myself wanting to run over to you and talk about it. I'm like, no, don't talk to him. Save it for the show. Because I was like, did you ever see this? Did you know this? What do you
That didn't stop you, because you still came up to me and started asking me questions. And
I wanted you to feel like you were needed.
Oh my goodness!
And cared about.
Yeah, whatever. Let's get to the topic.
I want to read you this quote because it really sums up this whole concept. It's by Alan Watt. He says, "Hollywood is the magician's wand, which has been used to cast a spell on the unsuspecting public. Things or ideas which would otherwise be seen as bizarre, vulgar, undesirable, or impossible are inserted into films in the realm of fantasy. When the viewer watches these films, her mind is left open to suggestion, and the conditioning process begins. These same movies, which are designed to program the average person, can give the discerning viewer a better understanding of the workings and the plan of the world agenda. That is what is behind predictive programming." Now, I try to go to good sources when I do research, and because I have access to a university library online, I try to go look for scholarly articles that are published in well-respected journals. Well, this topic, there's slim pickings. There was almost nothing. I found one, but even this article sounded more like somebody's personal opinion, but backed up with very little evidence, works cited, let's put it that way. But anyway, I still got something out of it. And, this article talks about how if you have an occult group or a secret society, like, I don't know, Illuminati, Freemasons, or whatever you want to talk about.
Cult of Snuggie.
Yeah. How those societies, they operate in a certain way, but it's not unlike government intelligence agencies doing the same thing. In fact, some of these agencies, like the CIA, are directly involved in the messages we're going to see in film and TV. Now, the thing I found out is, sure, they can use symbolism. That's kind of a hidden, subtle thing, but a lot of the things that I reviewed were outright, blatant, open statements, right? So, and the thing about secret societies and hidden agendas is, well, they're hidden and they're secret, right? And don't forget, the word occult simply means hidden. Okay? So they usually have like rituals and initiations and rites and ceremonial rites. So I got my notes out of line here. Why would they go so far as to take some of their agendas and put it out there for us to see? Well, it's like they have some kind of cosmic contract with the world. Like, if they don't tell us in some subtle way what they're about to do, it won't work. I don't know if it's like some kind of voodoo magic or what. They, like the Freemasons and some of these secret societies, have this notion like there is an ordered chaos to the world that they believe in. And that the world works in a certain ways, and you've got to tick all the things off or it's not going to happen. So, but all this stuff about predictive programming, something that struck me right off the bat was I read in this article was, anyone who is not in control of their own thoughts is a prime target for those who are. So if you're not in control of your own mind, someone who has really good control of their own mind can control yours and overtake it. And again, why do this? Well, the powers that be work like this, like the Illuminati. I'd always heard this. In order to carry out their agendas, they have to kind of show their hand in a way, subtly.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning they have to subtly tell us what they're going to do without just coming out or showing us or saying us what we're going to blow up the World Trade Center. You know, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Yeah. And I'll get into that in just a little bit. Well, it has to do with the fact that we're free thinkers, that we have free will. And you're going to see that come up over and over. Free thought, free will, free will. And as humans, we're somewhat resistant to change. I hit the mic. I'm sorry about that. We are somewhat resistant to change and new ideas if they go against what we've always believed in, especially. Now, if they can subliminally, repeatedly show us something over and over and over in different formats, in a comic book, in a cartoon, in a book, in a piece of artwork, on TV, in film, anything you can think of to convey a message.
Mm-hmm.
Sculpture, that's how they're going to do it, to get their point, so they can say, well, we got you ready. Look at all this stuff we put out there. We told you in a way, so it's about conditioning us to accept something that we would not normally accept if we didn't have it subtly hammered into us, right? So this may be the point to some symbolism that keeps coming up and the subtle suggestions we see in our media, in movies and TV and whatnot, artwork. Another statement from this article that I was reading struck me was he referenced an
alchemist?
Yeah, it's an alchemical text, The Rosary of the Philosophers, which contains this statement on the use of cryptography by secret societies. As its quote says, "Wherever we have spoken openly, we have said nothing. But where we have written something in code and in pictures, we have concealed the truth." You're like, huh? It's like, is that not cryptic enough for you? I mean,
it almost sounds like your other favorite guy, Nostradamus, when he's writing his quatrains and.
I get a time machine, go back, punch him in the face. Anyway, that's just me.
I can see you doing it too.
That's just me. But anyway, so these occult orders in society use cryptography, which is just disguised writing and symbolism. It's cryptic. It's not putting it out there blatantly so you can understand it.
Yeah.
It's being like, ooh, look at this over here. They do use symbolism, and they do use it publicly, but maybe at first glance you're not going to understand what it means. You can look right at it and go, I don't get it. They can encrypt messages through symbolism out in the open in art, architecture, cultural works. The Denver airport.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yep.
I think we've kind of talked about, I don't know if we've really delved into that one. That could be something we could pair up with another topic if we wanted to get into it. So this article I was reading was really good for sort of a sense of historical background, a setup point for this topic. And it was making it out that it's not just some secret societies with esoteric knowledge to hide or reveal. And esoteric just means information that's only understood by a select few, or an elite if you want. Not everybody would get it, It's also, this article pointed out, it's also official intelligence agencies that employ and approve some of these tactics, subtle symbolism. And they also do their work in secret. That's not in dispute. The CIA doesn't tell us everything to do they? And the CIA deals with information. They're the Central Intelligence Agency. They deal with intelligence, thought, concepts. Much of their work is in counterintelligence, rather. It's preventing knowledge and access to information from foreign, entities. And how they get the misinformation out there is they craft lies to keep our enemy guessing. Now, I'm sure I don't have to explain MK Ultra to you by now.
Mm-hmm.
To have you understand that the CIA are very interested in mind control. They were behind that. They were behind LSD experiments and disseminating it to the hippies, allegedly, So they could create, I don't know if it was just like a place to have an open lab in a way to see what would happen, or to help control a part of the population to act or be represented a certain way so they can further their agendas. And it's no secret that the CIA and government agencies like them are a bit rogue and see themselves as above the law. And of course, they are versed in cryptography as well. And I'll give you this other quote. Intelligence agencies need to broadcast messages to the public at large. They do this via entertainment media, especially film and television. Intelligence agencies go about this in a very similar way that the secret societies spread their message. So if they're gonna plant a false flag event, they'll start putting it in movies and cartoons and in comic books and, just all the things you access.
Mm-hmm.
So, would it surprise you to learn that the CIA has their very own public affairs office inside of, the CIA, and they have an entertainment industry liaison? Why is that? Because they want to watch how they're being represented in the entertainment industry, like in movies and TV and whatnot. And they put into practice all these qualities that secret societies have when it comes to major productions out there that is going to be seen by a large number of people. So not only are occult themes woven into popular movies, but the CIA is actively involved in working on Hollywood productions just to do this. Sometimes they have an agenda that they want to get out, not just how they're portrayed, and they want that to make sure it gets in there in the way they want it to get in there. And I could get more specific in just a bit. Now, something they like to do is some of these on-screen agents you see in movies and whatnot, they're these dark anti-hero characters, right? And these characters are working to keep their image good in movies because they aren't always successful because, independent movies exist. They can't get to those. Think about the movie The Matrix, about the agents in The Matrix. They're not very, I don't think the CIA would approve of them because they were very dark and, they were the villains.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes these negative characters, these agents films, are approved by the CIA, and they're portrayed as dark, rogue characters who do twisted, unethical things in order to get the job done, because the CIA wants you to feel that the character is struggling with the ethical and moral dilemmas, but they want to protect our national security. They want us to see these acts as necessary to stay safe. So, one of the biggest theories that I came across, of course, of hidden messages, symbolism in movies is the notion of predictive programming, which is what I've been talking about. So I've learned about this over time just doing research on various topics for this show. So that phrase, predictive programming, will come up every now and then. And I've learned now to know what it is, even before I dove deep into this research. So, and again, the Illuminati use this is to get their attentions out there in a subtle way. I guess it's, again, some kind of deal they have with the universe. If they tell us about it, but we don't get it, they still did their part of the bargain. If it's some kind of karma thing or what. So they got to show us sort of a soft tell about what they're going to do or what's going to happen. That way they can't say we didn't know about ahead of time. We've been conditioned and ready to accept it, even if we're not fully aware of it. It's sitting in the back of our mind. And I'll explain the biggest event. So predictive programming doesn't work on everybody.
Because there are actually people that are awake.
Woke, yeah.
They're...
And this is what I'm talking about. Some of us are too awake. Now, I was looking at this one website. It says, the reason why predictive programming does work on a lot of people, this is why it does work on some people. Some people believe that the government will be there to save them in all circumstances. Poor, naive little souls. They don't question or inquire further onto anything. They just accept whatever's the status quo or whatever they're told. Some people don't share our fears that something big is on the horizon. They're just not paranoid enough like me. Some people exist in a bubble and don't look at the bigger picture. Well, I can understand that You got bills to pay. You've got your own problems. You've got to, get up, you go to work and make a living and da-da-da. I kind of understand that, but you've got to take a moment every now and then to step out and see what's going on. And another reason they say predictive programming does work is because people will refuse to prepare for bad things because they honestly don't believe it's possible that those things will happen. Just pure skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with being a skeptic, but you need to at least listen, process, draw some conclusions, maybe do a little research. That would make me feel better about you as a human being. But that's just me. So basically what I want to tell you is predictive programming is just embedding messages into our everyday lives, such as movies, other modes of transportation, to psychologically prepare us for certain events.
And I guess at this point, are you ready?
It's a little early, but we could do it.
Let's go ahead and take a break because that'll give you a chance to throw some drink down your throat, to freshen it up. And so let's take the break. You're listening to Space Boy Universe. I'm Space Boy Solana, and we'll be back after these exciting messages.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
Hey, Solana!
What?
If Space Boy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
SpaceboyUniverse.com.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Ron.
All right, so we're back, and I'm just kind of talking for Solana because she's just dumped a big old bag of cookies in her mouth.
I don't have any cookies.
Oh, well, you...
It was a teeny, tiny little Snickers.
Whatever, that thing looked huge. Whatever you had...
You've been watching Boogie Nights?
No, I'm telling you, it's a prosthetic. Anyway, so...
I already knew that. Thank you, dear. You want some more marital angst, or
no?
Should we continue?
I think we should continue because I know that all the Space Cadets are just excited because we have a live show tonight.
Yeah, and we're not in pain for once, so...
Yeah, and Comcast is actually delivering what we paid for.
Yep.
So, it's all good in
we
the
just
neighborhood.
had too many things stacked against us last Saturday.
I think they really missed this, because it's like, they listen because it's like, oh, Mommy and Daddy are fighting again. So, but...
Are you hitting the...
I know. I've got the... can you give me just a second to adjust my cord? The cord... I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to get some kind of zip ties or something to put this down. But anyway, enough of my problems.
No, we got all the time in the world.
Oh, whatever.
It's fine.
Please continue, Sir Lana.
He's been having a bad day, just an aside. He has been so cranky, and I don't think it's anything to do with me.
No, it has to do with the fact that I've been a complete spaz today, and the fact that
he dropped 2 drinks.
I had this delicious soda going.
He drove like a maniac. He got in one of these motorized scooter chairs that they offer for you at the grocery store, and he was irresponsible with it. And
whoa, how was I irresponsible with it? You caught me with his ding.
He was like beeping the little horn irresponsibly, like a little 7-year-old child. And I was like, I don't know you, and I walked away.
All I did was shaving a haircut with the damn little beeper thing.
But it's like the boy who cried wolf. You don't do that irresponsibly.
You can't scare anybody with that horn on that damn motor scooter, whatchamacallit.
Well, if nothing else, you're attracting attention. You know what I feel about attention. I don't like it.
Well, and then, okay. Anyway. We can save this towards the end of the program because there's more angst there, but,
Yeah. But he took a nap, and I think he's doing better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to the subject at hand. Predictive programming and symbolism in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just Hollywood, honestly, and I'll tell you why in a second. So, once again, I'm going to tell you over and over again, just like predictive programming, if we keep seeing the same symbol or message, even for a brief moment, and we keep seeing it over and over again, we're getting used to seeing it. It's being put in our brain, even if it's in the back, of our consciousness. We get used to this notion. We're getting less resistant when and if it actually happens. Well, let's dive into the biggest, greatest example of this predictive programming to get us ready for September 9th, 2001, 9/11. The theory behind 9/11 was to justify invading other countries and in the minds of Americans. Now, recall, if you were alive or around or conscious when 9/11 happened, just days after, how many of us were gung-ho about going after whoever was responsible in whatever country, and let's bomb them back to the Stone Age, which was, 5 weeks before? So, I do remember that mania and all that jingoism, if you call it now, which is patriotism. So that was excuse for the powers that be in this country. They needed something big as an excuse to go after these countries, and I'll get you a really good explanation for that further down, but I'm going chronologically here, okay? So that's the story anyway. So if we are to believe all these examples we have of predictive programming for 9/11, they have been telling us 9/11's going to happen decades before the year 2001, that they are going to stage this event. Here's an aside fact for you. The owner of the World Trade Center buildings took out an insurance policy on the towers that covered acts of terrorism And after 9/11, he got $4 million. Something to think about.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm about to hit you with a ton of examples. Some of these could just be pure coincidence. Some of these could be laughable. Some of these made me think. And some of these I just felt like such a stretch. Now, if you're a gung-ho theorist or highly paranoid, you can make anything fit your worldview, right?
Yeah.
But the first example I'll tell you about goes back to 1949, and I do think it's a bit of a stretch, but it's kind of interesting, too, and you can find this on YouTube. I got all this information I'm about to tell you from one video on YouTube, and all it did was list every single reference that supposedly tells you about 9/11 is coming. So we start in 1949 with a Looney Tunes cartoon starring Porky Pig and Charlie the dog, one of the few dog characters that actually talked in the Bugs Bunny world. In this cartoon, the dog is upset about being taken back to the city. He wants to stay on the farm with Porky Pig. So he's being all overly dramatic and screaming how he doesn't want to go back to the city with all the towers closing in on him. He goes, the towers, they're falling. He's screaming this. I'm like, okay, that's pretty strange, specific, So, he doesn't want to sit back to the cold, cruel towers of the city. They're ominous and they're closing down on you. This is a bit of a stretch because we're going back to 1949.
Right.
Why would they even try to predict an event for two buildings that don't even exist yet? They're not built yet.
Right.
So I'm going to dismiss that one personally. Think of it what you will. Go find that clip. And look it up on YouTube. So he jumps next to a 1970 book cover that shows an illustration of a Chinese nationalist in front of the Twin Towers, and a jet plane is headed right toward the buildings. The name of this book is called 30 Seconds Over New York by Robert Bouchard. Now that one is right on the money, so maybe that's something to add to the collection here to think about, but I will dismiss the 1973 movie poster for Godzilla vs. Megalon, which shows each of the monsters on top of one of the World Trade Center towers. Here's the thing about the Twin Towers. They have been part of the New York skyline for a long time. Mm-hmm. They were as iconic as the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
So it's not a shock that they would be featured in other media. Plus, it's the heart of capitalism. The trade center, where all the trading is done and the money is made, right? Mm-hmm. So it makes sense. Now, that's the reason I dismiss the Tower's appearance in all comic books, because they're an easy target for being in peril. Yet, I stopped the video when it showed me this next image. It was from a Cracked magazine cover from 1975, which explicitly shows a plane heading toward and into one of the Twin Towers. I mean, anytime we have a plane in the towers, that is extremely specific. Mm-hmm. And there's never been a time where it's been legal or normal to fly close to buildings in New York City, because that's just not the path, right? If we accept they've been planning this from the 70s, why the long build up to 2001? That is my question. I don't have the answer for it. Do you have any thoughts there? Why take so many decades to build up?
True.
And do you recall Bashago says they had that device where they looked in and saw that?
What did it call it?
I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. The glass. The looking glass, like Alice.
And it's funny that I was just thinking time travel, or to be able to see with some kind of device into the future. I wonder on that line that, maybe that might be the case, is that they're looking into the looking glass.
So you're saying they saw this was going to happen, and they're just trying to get us ready for it, so we won't be so upset. But we were upset.
Well, it was a big deal. It was like, how they in the past they would say, "Where were you when JFK was shot?"
Oh, I wasn't born yet. That's
well,
where
I know,
was.
but it's exactly like that.
Yeah.
Where were you when 9/11 went down?
And I'll latch onto that notion a little later here, so we'll come back to keep that thought in mind.
Sure, thought processed and zipped into my mind.
Now, you and I have both seen this. The 1979 Supertramp album cover for Breakfast in America.
Interesting fact. The woman on that cover looks like my grandmother on my dad's side. And that particular album has a lot of significance in my life.
Okay.
Anyway.
I don't think your mom did it, though.
No.
Your grandmother did it.
No, but the thing is that that particular, it's kind of like it's a pivotal album in my life.
Well, that cover, it's the way, it's got the New York skyline, it's got the Twin Towers, and it's being viewed from the window of a plane.
Right.
Over like the river, whatever.
And the city is made out of dishware and stuff from a diner.
Yeah, Breakfast in America.
Yeah, Breakfast in America.
But the imagery it conjures up, it lines up so you see 911. So go check out Supertramp's album cover from 1979, Breakfast in America. See which conclusions you can draw. Now, I can almost dismiss that one too. But this next one also had me pausing the video. There is a black and white advertisement from Pakistan International Airline. I think this is the same year, where it shows the Twin Towers here in America with a reflection or a shadow of an airplane across both buildings. Of course, no plane should be flying in the middle of the city like that to cast a shadow. That one kind of disturbed me. Then you've got, since the 70s all the way through the 90s, G.I. Joe, the real Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Men in Black cartoon, all show different aspects where the Twin Towers are in peril, about to be destroyed, or they're in danger, but they just save the day in the nick of time. 1988 saw the release of the Microsoft Flight Simulator software. It showed the New York skyline in the background with an exaggerated Twin Towers that were towering above all the other buildings, and a small jet plane flying away from the buildings, like toward you, the viewer. This is what's the cover on the box where the software was in.
The backtrack for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
The Supertramp album that you speak of, you have to actually reverse the image, and the U and the P, when reversed, looks like 9/11, which is right above the Twin Towers. So that's what where you're getting the 9/11.
So that's what I'm saying. I dismissed that one because that one could be a little bit of a stretch, but these other ones are so close.
But still, I think there's people, like, for example, myself. I'm able to really pick up stuff that that is in reverse, because I can read in reverse.
You can.
It's bizarre. I just know, and anyway, that's a story for another topic. But yeah, so I imagine people can still pick up on these things where they're seeing things and they're processing it subconsciously. So
right. Again, these are images, because this is so many years in advance to the actual event. We don't question it. It's just like it's there. Oh, the Twin Towers are iconic. You're used to seeing them, but now they're getting like towers, plane, towers, plane, towers, plane, over and over and over and over. So it's getting implanted, supposedly.
Right.
Now, this next example, I stopped everything and ran in and asked you about this, because I was like, what? Because I've never watched wrestling in my life.
Right.
So this video I was watching showed actual footage from, I'm guessing this was 1989 airing of WWF. And they were, how the wrestlers get up and posture with, is it Gene Okerlund or something like that.
Right.
The guy with the mic.
Mm-hmm.
He's always wearing a tux and tie.
Right, yeah.
And they get up there and they brag about what they're going to do to their opponents.
That's when wrestling, I think, for me was
pure.
fun. Was fun and cheesy and good.
Everybody loved it. Mm-hmm. So apparently, there was a wrestling duo called the Twin Towers, and they showed the audience with a homemade poster says, "Demolition will topple the Twin Towers." I guess you have maybe a wrestler called Demolition or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, during these little interviews they do right before a match, they asked Randy Savage, Macho Man, and Hulk Hogan if they were going to let Twin Towers continue these terrorist attacks. This is 1989. Right. That is very weird. It's just very weird. Now you can say, well, it's the Twin Towers because it's iconic. But I'm just, but to talk about terrorism taking down a metaphorical duo who stands in line for these towers, I don't know. That is just so specific to me. I don't know. Then in 1991, 2 video games come out. Both are set in New York, and both of them put the World Trade Center in line to be damaged, and you make points off of that. Not the first games that do that, by the way.
Right.
1998, Super Mario Brothers movie, The Towers Get Destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like in the 1990s, it's really picking up with this imagery and these things. It's really like they're really trying to hammer it home because they're getting close. It seems like it's more blatant. Of course, there's an Iron Man cartoon that has some evil alien entity that's set on destroying the Twin Towers and the Pentagon by crashing a jet into the buildings. More cartoons and video games come out in the 90s that depict the destruction of the World Trade Center. Then there is the 1994 Viceland article titled, "What is Al-Qaeda?" This one had me pausing the video. There's an illustration on the page before the article starts.
Right.
The illustration's like this hand-drawn thing. It's the World Trade Center. It's a little cartoony. There are 2 jet planes, like really cartoony. They're small, and 2 characters are like coming up out of the planes like they're riding it like it's almost like a carnival thing. 2 characters are dark complected with kind of like turbans, and they look like Beavis and Butthead, the Persian version.
Okay.
That was weird. And that is 1994. That is the most weirdly specific image I've ever seen. 2 planes, 2 Muslims going around the towers, connected to what is Al-Qaeda. That one stopped me dead of all the examples I've seen. So it makes me wonder, is there something to it? So some I think are coincidences, some are just being, part of media, and the others are like, wait a minute. I didn't see the 1995 Hackers movie, but they cite it as one of these predictive programmings for 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that stopped me cold, because this is such kind of an obscure thing because it's an advertisement on TV. It's just a commercial. 1995 ad for Dolby Cinema surround sound by the Philips Corporation shows a young boy in front of a big TV screen. He's watching a plane fly past the Twin Towers. It's casting its shadow over both of the buildings, and they keep showing it and showing it and showing it.
Yeah.
Then, of course, in 1995, you have the release of the Illuminati card game, which shows a terrorist nuke taking out the towers and the Pentagon. Well, they would know, wouldn't they? Now, this is when I came into here and ran into you and talked to you about this. Spaceboy's favorite movie from 1996, Long Kiss Goodnight, starring Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson.
By the way, I finally broke down and purchased it.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and look at that now. I saw that was in the
queue.
watch list, yeah. Okay, in this movie, it was in 1993 when this came out. They discuss, not 1993, it was 96 when the movie came out, but they're discussing with some agent in the film the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center. So they're talking to some guy. I don't know if this guy is a CIA agent in the film or what. about them having CIA having advanced knowledge that they were going to play out this scenario to fake bomb the World Trade Center to increase the CIA's budget. And then Samuel L. Jackson's character says, wait a minute, so you're going to fake bomb that place to get more money for your budget. And he says, fake bomb? How do you fake kill 4,000 people? No, we're just going to have to kill them for real. And then we'll blame it on the Muslims, naturally, and then I will get my funding. That seems like hello, this is what we're trying to do, but you're seeing this in a fictional movie. So, don't worry about it.
Right.
1997 Men in Black cartoon. There's a blimp that nearly crashes into the World Trade Center, but they pull back at the last second, and it's fine. Now, we'll talk about something that's become famous since the event. There's a Simpsons episode where Lisa Simpson holds up a magazine, and on the cover of the magazine, this is 1997, she holds up an ad for New York for only $9. You can go and be a tour New York for only $9 a day. The weird thing about this magazine cover is the placement of the 9 next to the Twin Towers. I could say 911. Of course, that just really helps fuel this conspiracy, right?
Well, as a side note, there's been a lot of things on The Simpsons that have seemed to predict the future.
Don't talk about that just yet, because that's at the bottom.
It's like whoosh.
Because one of them you're going to be wrong about, because I checked Snopes.
Okay, I'm curious to know which one.
So I don't want you to say the wrong thing and look bad.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so we're still doing this timeline of things that are predictive programming for 9/11. 1997, this one made me pause again, and I kept going back and going back and going back. 1997, the Department of Justice released this document called the Emergency Response to Terrorism Self-Study. And on this self-study, there's just a basic black and white line art drawing of buildings. 2 in the front and center are just almost looks exactly the same, sitting side by side, like towers. And there is a scope target over one of them. I was like, okay. And then you go to some weird stuff like 1997. There's a freeze frame of a photograph. It's sculpture, and it's a frieze. If you know what a frieze is, in the art world, it is a carving sculpture in marble or whatever medium of a disaster in New York, where you see the buildings all askew and blowing up, being shot out of, the ground.
Right.
This is on top of a column at St. John's Cathedral in New York City. Weird. See, it's not just TV and movies. It's cultural works, like they said. I didn't see this movie, so maybe you could comment on it, Spaceboy, if you saw it. The 1998 movie Armageddon shows the towers damaged, but mostly still standing.
Right.
1998, you get more ads, quick images seen in movies just showing the towers close to the number 9. They're not necessarily in peril. It's just there's a lot of 911 imagery. A 1999 movie called 7 Days shows a guy flying what looks like a simulator, like the Microsoft simulator, to, I guess, learn how to handle the specific kind of plane. And in the simulator, he blows up the Pentagon with a plane. And then later in the movie, they carry out the plan. I did not see 1999's Fight Club, but apparently that one is dense with predictive programming. And at the end of the movie, a lot of buildings come down, and they're getting you ready for the Twin Towers coming down.
Right.
And there's so much about it, you could almost do a show on the imagery in Fight Club. Now, because we're in the timeline of this is 1999. I don't know if we want to get into it now, but we're going to have to talk about the movie The Matrix and possibly the 2 other movies.
Well, I was just going to bring up, when we were talking about The Simpsons, it's been so, lots of things in there that have kind of predicted the future.
Let me scroll down.
The one that I was going to bring up was the one Trump coming down the escalator.
All right, let me stop you there because I don't want you to have the incorrect information. Speaking of The Simpsons, everyone cites this one episode where the show predicted Trump running for president.
Mm-hmm.
For a while, no one bothered to dig a little deeper. The images you're seeing in The Simpsons are from an episode that aired in August 2015. Everyone keeps saying that clip was from the year 2000, but that piece of animation came out right after Trump announced his candidacy. So people just wanted that to be true, so they made it true. But a quick visit over to Snopes.com debunked that.
All right, thanks for flushing me down the toilet.
Well, I was trying to stop you. I told you, I said, don't talk about it until I can tell you the truth.
Okay. So any other Simpsons episode you want to debunk?
There was more that people say, oh, well, this happened in The Simpsons and that happened in The Simpsons. But if you go to Snopes.com and just type in The Simpsons, you'll see all of them debunked or clarified for you.
Okay.
If you wish.
But, you know, as we, you know, before we get to the break here, I've always felt like, you know, maybe a lot of this, you know, it's like history is reverberating through time and space. And so we're picking up things that are saying, hey, this is coming down the pipe subconsciously to let us know. I mean, I know it's quick and easy to say, oh, the evil lords of the earth are trying to, you know.
Well, the only thing I was going to say about The Simpsons and other shows like that is that's not to say that people who work on the shows, that write on the shows, that produce them, or whoever involved with them, these people in Hollywood, that's not to say somebody there might not know something.
Well, you know, I'm glad you brought that point up because, you know, it's kind of like it's very easy to believe, since we did a show on this, about fake news, how a lot of the mainstream media are, you know, when you see these clips out there where the talking points are all the same from all these different media organizations.
So they're getting it probably from one central source.
One central source, exactly.
Who is that source?
So could it be Satan?
You don't know that reference? You're too young to be on this channel.
You know, this is a show that has a lot of pop culture in it, so, you know, get with the program, Space Cadets. Anyway, but, you know, our Space Cadets are pretty smart. They tune into this stuff. So, but, you know, it's kind of like, we talk about the media and their talking points all being the same. So who's giving the talking points out there to Hollywood, you know, and narrating that for Hollywood to crank out movies that have all this symbolism in it. And I guess as we approach the next half hour, we're going to dive into some of those movies, are we? Or
we're just going to keep going with what I'm doing.
Okay.
We're just going to talk about predictive probing and 9/11.
Okay. Are you ready for a break?
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, I like to take care of you, dear.
Sure you do.
Whatever. We'll be back right after this.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lotta.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt Pit. Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot.
You're terminated.
Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we've been kind of doing some research between the breaks. And, Shalana had to finish off her delicious candies over there and get her a refill on the tea action. Yeah, we're back, Shalana. What?
Nothing. You want to get back into the show?
Yes, I'm anxious to find out about the Back to the Future stuff that you were...
Jeez, what is wrong with you? Your bad day continues.
Look.
So right now we're talking about predictive programming with 9/11 leading all the way up to the event. So we're in 1999 with the movie The Matrix, which I have not yet to discuss.
Well, sorry that I mentioned the Back to the Future thing, but the Matrix thing is going to be interesting too.
God. Anyway.
What?
I don't like it when you F with my order in my system.
Look,
and the notes.
I didn't spoil anything. There was no spoilers involved here.
Well, I would have liked to have built up to that.
It's kind of like, I'm on the road on I-10 going to San Antonio, I see Buc-ee's is off in the distance. So that's what I was saying.
I'm talking about all this because it was part of one video I was looking at. But that part you're talking about was something separate, I found. So I talk about it separately, even though it came before this stuff. But it didn't sit inside this chunk of information.
Well, okay. So
I know you want to sit here and argue about it.
No,
that's cool.
No. I'm just saying that, I saw a signpost up ahead that said Buc-ee's 15
I should have
miles.
told. Next time, I'm not telling you dadgum thing.
Well, go ahead and so please continue.
Anyway, we're just not having a good day here. So let's talk about the movie The Matrix, or possibly, all three of them. Now, I don't know if this is foreshadowing for 9/11, but I think it's more a commentary on the nature of reality, or how the elite would like for things to be. They would like for us to be living in a matrix where they control it and we don't know and we're happy.
Well, in essence, that's what kind of on the surface what the Matrix was all about, was that you're living in a dream world, Neo, and here is the medication to wake you up to the reality of what's really going on.
What's interesting is, what was his name?
Neo.
No, what was the guy you're just talking about?
Mr. Anderson.
No, the guy who just said you've been living in a dream.
Oh, Morpheus?
Isn't it interesting that Morpheus was seen as a terrorist, but his name is the god of sleep, being asleep? Why would he not want to be associated with somebody that's awake?
Awake?
Because he was awakening people out of the Matrix. I just think that's strange. Anyway, so I do think the Matrix is a more blatant, obvious way of saying, we're living in a dream world. Wake up. Wake up. So the only real predictive programming I can point to in The Matrix, the first movie, is there's such a brief moment where they show Neo's ID. You see his real name, Thomas Anderson. And on there, it shows the date, 9/11/2001. Why? Why that specific date? Why like that? Just quick as you can. It's very, very odd. Now, and I asked you why his name Morpheus, and I told you a lot of people can be easily swayed by predictive programming because they're living in the blue pill world. In The Matrix, Morpheus says you can take the blue pill, go back to your life like nothing ever happened. You won't know anything different than you already did. If you take the red pill, you're going to get the truth is going to get revealed to you about reality. So, of course, Neo takes the red pill. Now, the first Matrix movie had a lot to say, on this level about waking up and free will and all this junk. The other two were just cash grabs and a way to say, hey, look what we can do with CGI now. However, The Matrix Reloaded did have an interesting concept in it of the character of the architect. And we learn choice is an illusion. So here in this movie, they go back to the notion that there is no free will, and that the movies we watch are either trying to prove or fight for free will. Now, a word about Freemasons. Candidates who are going into Freemasonry to join their order are required to declare themselves, they're required to declare a belief in a supreme being. Yet, the Masons don't ask you which supreme being or who. They don't ask you to expand on that, give the details, or explain yourself. They say, do you believe in one? You say, yeah, and that's good enough for them.
Right.
So, this supreme being can be anyone or anything you choose. It's can be a complex interpretation of a God being. So, during these rituals, they refer to the supreme being as the great architect of the universe. So, this Matrix Reloaded might be them trying to point out their belief system. So, this architect in Matrix, it's a machine that built the Matrix to keep humanity under control while they're being used as batteries, which is not really scientifically possible or accurate. But we'll let that go. So the Matrix Reloaded, Neo meets the architect, and he learns not only does the architect control the Matrix, he also is in charge of Zion. Zion was supposed to be the place where liberated humans could live in peace and not worry about the machines coming to get them or using them up. Well, that's also controlled by the architect, where they put their rebels and they give them this sense of freedom, but they know about them where they are at all times. In fact, before Neo, he learns that there's been this cycle of where they battle it out. A new savior like Neo, the One, comes along. They have this epic battle. They have destroyed Zion and rebuilt it 5 times before Neo. Mm-hmm. So it's all just a cycle to them. So they give Neo a choice. Keep things they are with this continuous cycle where they'll save Zion for now, or choose to break this cycle. And if he chooses the second option, the entire Matrix and everyone in it will be destroyed. Well, that's the one that Neo chooses, and the machines did not expect him to do that, and they weren't prepared. So it's about free will, breaking control, getting out of this programming, and waking up. So I felt like the Matrix was a blatant statement of like a warning, and I wondered, how in the world did this get by the powers that be who are trying to tell us the other way, you know? I did not see the 2000 movie The Patriot. They said it's more like the Patriot Act. I'd have to ask you about that. The New York Magazine cover for March 12th, 2001. Get on Google Images and look for New York Magazine cover, March 12th, 2001. Very strange. Let me tell you what it's supposed to be about. There's a real close-up of an illustration of a woman, and she's got one hand over her face so you can see one of her eyes, and she looks terrified, like she's screaming. And if she's up front and close to you, and sort of down lower off to the side is a small depiction of the New York skyline with the Twin Towers in the middle of the skyline. Now, the article that's featured on the cover is referencing the state of the real estate market in New York City. The title is called, "Is There Life Beyond the Boom?" Meaning the real estate boom. Keep in mind, this magazine came out 5-6 months before September 11th, same year. Very strange. Very, very strange. Now, March 2001 seems to be a key month for warning about September. I never saw this TV show, but I'm told it's a spinoff of X-Files. It's called The Lone Gunman. Mm-hmm. This is March 2001. An episode shows 2 characters are talking, an older man and a bit of a younger man. Okay, so the younger man says in this scene, "So you're saying our government plans to commit a terrorist act against a domestic target?" And he asks, "Why?" The older man says, Look, John, the Cold War is over. With no clear enemy to stockpile for, the arms market is flat. But bring down a fully loaded 727 into the middle of New York City, and you'll find a dozen tin-pot dictators all over the world clamoring to take responsibility and begging to be smart bomb. So the younger guy says, I can't believe it. This is about increasing arms sales? Well, when is it going to happen? And the older guy says, tonight. Now, I don't know what date tonight is in that episode, but the next scene, they show a plane heading toward the World Trade Center. But at the last second, this is totally implausible with the laws of physics, I think, the managers manage to pull back and avert the crisis, and they don't hit the building. But is that not more of an in-your-face, hello, explanation, if you want to believe that is?
Yeah.
And I've heard this before because this is somewhat legendary in regards to the conspiracy of the predictive programming for 9/11. In June 2001, some obscure musical duo you've never heard of releases an album. And they're on their album cover. It's two guys. And the only thing in the background is the sky and the Twin Towers, the actual World Trade Center, being blown up, the explosions coming from near the middle or the top of both buildings. Precisely. The name of the group or band or the duo is called The Coup. And the name of the album is called Party Music, ironically.
Mm-hmm.
Again, strange. Now, I finished the video, and by the time I finished it, it had more than 60 examples of images that showed the Twin Towers in peril, destroyed, or just featured prominently. And I thought, well, dang, that's a lot of coincidences. Is it just because towers had been so iconic for so long, like the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building? It's naturally something you want to target because it's the heart of capitalism. It's possible. It's possible they're all coincidences, but when they get so specific with the 9, the 1, and the 1 in the plane imagery, I don't know. Is there something there? I question. So that's for that. That was all in a chronological order inside this video. Now, I love Back to the Future as a movie. It's fun. It's family friendly. It's a great concept. It was an original idea at the time. I had no idea there's all this other stuff going on in it I didn't know about. So I've seen the videos of Easter eggs, like, oh, the things you missed because the timeline has changed, and like, I wasn't that stupid, thank you. But this just went right over my head. And as I was looking at this other video, I'm like, what? I don't know if this is far-fetched or not, but I added this because this was the first time I'd heard of it. And it may just be on the last to hear.
Yeah.
So you could just be running off paranoia. You can make anything believable. So this video I watched says that in the first Back to the Future movie, near the opening, you've got Marty and Doc. They're in the Twin Pines shopping mall at night because he needs that space to run the DeLorean up to 88. He needs that big empty parking lot, right? Mm-hmm. That's why they're there. So, of course, they're at the Twin Pines Mall. And what happens there while he's showing him and telling him about the DeLorean and the time machine? Some terrorists show up, some Muslims to be specific, because they're mad at Doc because Doc did a shady deal with some plutonium that didn't go through like they wanted it.
Right.
So they're coming to kill him. At the Twin Pines Mall. Okay, so they're saying, we see this prominently placed, the Twin Pines Mall signage, which is a digital clock.
A digital clock, yes.
They're saying, okay, the Twin Pines are the Twin Towers. The terrorist attack happens. The digital sign is showing the time. The time is 1:16 a.m. next to these two pine trees. All you have to do is turn it upside down. It's 911, 2 trees, 2 towers. Could be a little far-fetched. I don't know. But they go on to say in this video, a call that they're in this mall parking lot at night. It shows this upside down 911 if you turn it around. After the attack, the twins, the trees, are gone, right? And in the movie, such events happened that it became the Lone Pine Mall because Marty ran over one of those trees, right?
Right.
So now it's the Lone Pine Mall. This is supposed to foreshadow the fact that when 9/11 happens and the towers come down, they get destroyed. There's a photograph out there where you see it's just a dirt pit with the earth moving machines. They're getting ready to clean up and start over. What's standing there towering over the empty lot is the Hilton Hotel. And it is dark like the monolith from 2001. Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Sorry. I just thought that was so cool. Anyway, this whole scene where they're in the parking lot, you know, Doc's wearing a stopwatch around his neck, and he's got another one for Marty to hold. What time is on both stopwatches? 9/11. 9/11. Now, Back to the Future Part 2 is supposedly where everything gets confirmed that this is predictive programming for 9/11 in these movies. There's some point in Back to the Future where they're in the future, Marty's future, where he's an older man and his daughter and the wife are in this, I don't know if it's a hotel room or something, and they're looking at, well, it looks like a window because there's drapes, but it's a screen.
It's a living room.
It's a living room, but it's a screen. It's like a TV screen. And they look over, and the scene is like of a formal English garden, and you have these two tall cedar trees. Well, those are the towers. And then the screen switches to another scene, and it's a skyline at night with these two tall buildings. Also, in the scene in the living room with him, there's this torch from the Statue of Liberty. That's to reinforce the notion that we're talking about New York City. Also, Marty's character's flying upside down for some reason. I think he's got a bad back or something. He's trying to get relief.
No, that's the dad.
The dad.
Yeah.
Well, he's upside down in this device, and he can move around in it. And that's so we can see things from his perspective. You flip the whole scene upside down, you can see the towers in that screen are falling down. This video said that particular moment is the most literal depiction of the towers falling down. It's an elaborate warning about the attack. I don't know that for sure. Now, in this second movie, Marty desperately wants to tell Doc about Doc's fate being shot by the terrorists because he would like Doc to prevent it. Because he's back in 1950 whatever for the second time. And he writes him a letter because Marty has the future knowledge of what's going to happen. Now, we go back a little in the movie, and he is sitting in front of the town square or whatever with his girlfriend. They're making out, and this older lady comes up, gets in their face, shakes this flyer in his can. She's trying to get money. Save the clock tower. Save the tower. Save the tower. Weird. So, in that movie, the clock tower gets struck by lightning. They pan over where the DeLorean is on the street. It gets its juice from that bolt of lightning down the wire. As the wire comes down, so they can harness it. And Marty goes back to the future because he gets all the juice he needs, right?
Right.
When it peels off, you see the street has the two flaming streaks on it, right? And it pans out, and to the left, there's this neon sign for a Western auto store. And it's this arrow, a curly arrow in the shape of a 9. So you have 911. The streaks being the 1 and the 1, and the sign for the store being the 9.
Right.
Could be a stretch. Yeah. Same scene where that woman's in Marty's face about saving the clock tower. When it pans over to her, right above and to the right of her head, on a storefront, there is an all-seeing eye symbol hovering above everything. Just, there's your symbolism. Now, why does Doc go to October 21st, 2015 to go into the future, to Marty's future? Why does he take Jennifer and Marty to that exact date? Interestingly enough, that date, there's this movie called The Walk gets released, and that is about a guy who walks on a wire between the two twin towers on a tightrope. And guess who directs that film? Zemeckis, who is the guy behind Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
So they go forward to that date in 2015, and they see images on that screen from their future. The towers are coming down. Please note, Back to the Future was released in 85. Part 2 was released in 89. And Part 3, which has nothing to do with anything, was released in 1990. In the 80s, this is 2 decades before the actual 9/11. Again, we're getting these warnings from like decades ahead. Well, the second movie is supposed to mirror real life. Marty has knowledge of the future. Doc is going to be killed by terrorists. There's a 30-year gap between 1985 and 2015. There's a 30-year gap between Back to the Future and the movie The Walk. This is a warning about the towers. Marty says Doc's going to find out in 30 years what he put in the note. Back to the Future, Doc rigs a giant wire from the top of a clock tower down to the DeLorean so it could juice up. Marty gets back to 1985. In the movie The Walk, a wire stretched between the twin towers. Apropos of nothing? Possibly. Don't know. So the second Back to the Future movie, Doc gets Marty home with a lightning strike. We've already seen that twice. So he's like, yay, I did it. He turns on his relief. He's got his back turned. As soon as that DeLorean disappears, here comes another Marty running down the street towards Doc between the flaming streaks. This is Marty from 30 years in the future. This is the October 2015 Marty. Marty is wearing a black leather jacket, a red t-shirt, and some jeans. In the movie The Walk, the character played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt stands on the edge of one of the towers and is wearing a black leather jacket, red shirt, and his pants are like a light blue denim, whereas Marty's was dark. But I'm like, now, this could be a coincidence. This could be a deliberate Easter egg. This could be Zemeckis' subtle nod to Back to the Future as just a tribute for fans to figure out, because people love doing that. Now, they're saying in this video, 9/11 was the largest witnessed single act of terrorism ever. This makes it a huge focus for consciousness. Now it becomes like a portal, a gateway, a monolith. In 2001, like the monolith in 2001. What happened to that ape when the ape touched the monolith? He got knowledge. He found out he could take a bone and kill other apes. So something about touching the monolith will free us from all these images we see on film that are trying to program us. Now we see the footage of the photograph where the towers were standing. You've got the dark Millennium Hilton Hotel. It's facing Ground Zero. It did suffer damage because of those attacks. It was closed for over a year, but it came back. Now, they're saying that hotel was put there and facing that direction, and it was built intentionally to mimic the look of the monolith in 2001: A Space Odyssey. The Hilton Hotel opened September 1992. Like I said, it got damaged at 9/11, but it was repaired and reopened in May 2003. He says, this attack on the Trade Center was our touching the monolith moment, where we're rejecting this narrative of our controller and we're waking up. But I remember it differently. I remember it as more like we played into their hands, like, let's go after the bad guys. So I'll cut it right there.
Okay. Well, very fascinating. I hesitated to say anything while you were talking about the Back to the Future thing, but yeah.
Well, you can have your commentary. We come back.
No, I mean it's been, I noticed as you're talking about it, I'm reviewing the pictures from Back to the Future, and
I just never the whole time I was watching, I never thought. Actually, I don't know if I've seen it since 2001.
I'd heard. I'd heard about the Twin Pines sign thing, and it's interesting how when you flip the sign, it says 911. And
but there's so many 911s that occur over movies and TV shows between when it happened back to whenever people started making stuff. Exactly. And then of course the connection with Joseph Gordon Levitt.
Yeah, Levitt. And doing the tight wire crossing thing and Zemeckis. That's
strange, isn't it? It's just a little odd.
It's fascinating.
I don't know if there's anything to it. But think about it for a while.
It's stuff that make you go,
as Arsenio used to say. Again, there's another reference you don't know because you're too young.
Well, anyway, okay, let's get into a break here, Sir Lana, and I guess when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
But hey, it's nice hanging out with you.
Right.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the PAUK Radio Network. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU Network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Greetings, Space Cadets. Let's see what's in the sky tonight in the Spaceboy Universe. Tonight, in the eastern sky, we have Spaceboy Universe rising above the horizon in glorious splendor. And in the west, we can see Solanus Majoris, which is visible at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, just below the K28 belt. So keep your eyes on the sky and listen to Spaceboy Universe.
are listening to Space Boy Universe. Here are your hosts, Space Boy and Sir Lana.
All right, we're back. And we've been talking about a lot of good, cool stuff. And what's so funny about that?
I said a word to you in the break.
I mean, well, how's that any normal? I mean, how is that any different than you just pulling up a...
This iced tea is amazing, though.
It is delicious. Should we give a plug for it?
Well, we're not getting anything for it. I mean...
We're getting the deliciousness of the iced tea. It's Lou Diamond Phillips tea or...
God, you're lame sometimes.
Well, you married me.
I know. What does it say about me?
Lack of taste?
You know how earlier I said, with The Simpsons, just because that got debunked, that doesn't mean necessarily that people who work in that industry of Hollywood don't know something. Even if it's not always conspiratorial or dark or predictive.
Were you going to talk about a certain particular person who writes an animated TV show?
Will you just please stop that?
What?
And just let me get there on my own pace?
Get there.
What is wrong with you? God. So, there's people in Hollywood that know things that, maybe not on the level of 9/11, but about each other. So, I've stated many times on this show and to you personally and how much I do not care for Seth MacFarlane. If you don't know who that is the creator and most of the voices of the animated shows Family Guy and American Dad. He also is the star of a live TV sci-fi show, The Orville.
That show is good.
Which Spaceboy likes and watches, and I don't because I don't like Seth. Why? I don't really have a good answer for you, but he better not meet me in a dark alley.
The reality is you would like that show if he wasn't in it because it's given people who love Star Trek an alternative to Star Trek. And
that's nice, dear.
And it has Star Trek people in it.
I just don't like him. I want to slap his fatuous face. Anyway, Now, all that aside, all the personal feelings aside, I do believe MacFarlane is an insider that knows things or has known things for a while. And he does put things out there in joke form. And I don't know if that's his way of letting us know and getting away with it so he didn't get in trouble. So let me explain this. He made a joke about Harvey Weinstein in 2013 at the Oscars. I think he was presenting a category of best actress or supporting actress or something like that. And he made this joke. It's like, okay, ladies, you no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein because they were up for awards. And, I was just like, whoa. That was sort of out of nowhere. Nobody said another word about it until that all blew up, right? Now, later we find out Seth said he knew about Weinstein at that time because a colleague of Seth's, told him in confidence about an unfortunate encounter they had had with Weinstein. So that was his way of saying something without telling anything specific, that little comment at the awards. Then, in 2005, there's an episode of Family Guy where the baby character of Stewie, comes out of some room or some door into this, living room area with a bunch of people are milling around or something. And he runs out and he goes, "Help! I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement. Help me, please!" Screaming this. And you're thinking, this is 2005, you're thinking, that is so random and specifically weird. And then, of course, what happens with Spacey, in the 2017 scandal. So, MacFarlane knew some things before we did. Now, I'm not saying he's bad because of that. He's probably being discreet and watching his own butt, but this isn't predictive programming. It's trying to tell the truth under the cover of comedy. Or do you want to look at it this way? He's working with the secret cabal to program and prepare us for more of these outings and scandals. One more example I'll give you that's kind of like, what? At the time, and then now it makes sense, right? Okay, so there was an episode a little ways back where, this is Family Guy again, Brian, the family dog, is talking to Stewie. And Brian says, Bruce Jenner is a man. And Stewie replies, no, Brian. That's what the press would have you believe, but he's not. Bruce Jenner is a woman, an elegant, beautiful woman. And then in 2015, we welcome Caitlyn Jenner. So I'm like, what the heck did he know, Seth know, back then? How long has this been going on? You know, just examples of, it's not just couched symbolism. Sometimes it's just outright humor is trying to tell you something. Now, anyway, I still don't like him. And that's just how I feel about it. Anyway, so I won't dwell on that. Let's talk about the Terminator films. I still like that movie, the original movie, just because it was new, different, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, that was probably him at his best. That was a perfect role for him because he didn't have to say much. So, the Terminator, the first one, was in 1984. Now, I got this information from Hollywood Decoded, co-hosted by Jay Widener and Dyer. I can't remember the guy's name. Dyer. Yeah. So, that's a pretty good series if you watch it because they go so deep and esoteric and I don't know, it's just good. So these two guys talking about the Terminator film. So they're saying how Terminator is predictive in that they're talking about in 1984, this is before public internet for us, you know. It's predicting in a way this world of linked machines, Skynet, like the internet, and it's all about AI going rogue and becoming, you know, self-aware and sentient, right? And it's so smart and it's out to destroy humanity. Skynet's the, you know, bad guy of these movies, right? It directs this army of robots or cybernetic beings or, you know, those liquid ones to kill humans. Now, what struck me about this is I'm watching Hollywood Decoded with Jay Widener saying, Jay Widener says about James Cameron, the director of Terminator. He says, isn't it odd? You've got this Canadian, James Cameron, comes down from Canada, down here to be a truck driver. He's got no ties to Hollywood, no in. You know, he doesn't know someone. But he gets this idea for the Terminator story and insists on directing it with no experience in directing or Hollywood whatsoever. He does it, and it becomes a huge hit out of nowhere. For some reason, that's suspicious to Jay Widener. And I like him because we've listened to his commentaries about 2001: A Space Odyssey. I really thought was interesting, and The Shining. So I think this guy's pretty cool. So he's saying, you know, in Hollywood, you have to know somebody or work your way up to get a film produced, but Cameron did not do either. So I didn't know that. This is one thing I didn't know. So how did they get this movie out there so popular? Is it because it was important that this movie get out there and this message start getting into our heads? Again, like in The Matrix, this movie is about free will or how we had it and then we're not going to have it when Skynet goes online, right? So Skynet will become self-aware. It's like a predetermined loop, right? We're going to be living in a technocracy, as Jay says. We're already living in a surveillance nightmare right now where, you know, we've talked about this a little bit, where our TVs, our computers, and our phones are kind of spying on us and listening. You have to take extra measures to not be heard by your devices. So this is kind of what the Terminator movies is hinting at with Skynet. You know, it's all-seeing, all-knowing, in your face, taking over, trying to crush our free will, or just get rid of us altogether. That way there's no free will if there's no humans, right? And we're already living in a time where they're building robots, or sending bots into police situations where they need police because, they can put expendable machines out there. Super soldiers and, robotic dogs and things like that. They're all in development, By the way, a technocracy is where you have a government that rules or controls society or industry by an elite group of technical experts. In case you wondered what that was. So, and Jay is saying also that eventually we'll get rid of all money. We'll just have credits. I think that's fairly plausible. We'll all be run from a centralized grid and managed from there. And now, so in this movie, you've got John Connor rebelling. He grows up, becomes this, this figure, this leader of this rebellion. So Terminator is trying to go back in the past to kill his mother so he can't even be born. But again, now you have to get into the grandfather complex, which you know what that is, Spaceboy, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you go back in time and kill someone to stop someone from being born if, you know what I'm saying? It's like a paradox. It's like, I can't even explain it. It messes up my brain so bad. They're saying Google wants to be a global brain. And they're in on this mass depopulation. Like in the Terminator, the AI wants to stamp out humanity because it's just, it's in the way. So is the Terminator movie a warning? Well, the second one definitely talks about free will, where young John Connor talks about it to the good Terminator, right?
No fate by the choices we make.
Yeah, that's the exact scene. Again, it's about free will and how we really don't have it. It's all predetermined. It's all predetermined by these machines. It's like they're in an endless loop to stop, and it's going to keep going, it's going. So does this mean for real that our will is determined by a technocracy until these machines become self-aware? Are we going to lose our free will? And did we ever really have it in the first place? That's kind of the point of the movie, and along with The Matrix. So this movie is sort of a warning. Again, how did this get by if they don't want us to have free will? Why do these little warnings get through to us? Other movies have dealt with this. Mass cyber attacks, viruses. This could be going on right now. AIs that are on satellites. They seem to think all of our countries are actually much more cooperative than our news media would have it seem. Oh, we hate each other, we're at war, we're getting ready to nuke each other. But behind the scenes, our governments are working together to help control the future populations by doing whatever they do to get rid of us. So, there are a ton of movies that have symbolism and predictive programming. There's huge lists of these things. Sorry. Firefox wanted to update, and it's in my face.
I was wondering why you were buffering.
Yeah. I haven't even heard of half these. Do you remember the name of the rose? They're saying that one hints at ancient knowledge was hidden and stored when its library is locked from the public eyes. The Man Who Would Be King, Eric the Viking, Lawnmower Man, predictive program aimed at the young, encouraging excitement with the possibility of achieving amazing powers by mentally entering an actual internet. Jacob's Ladder, Storm of the Century, They Live. Now that movie was blatant. They Live. THX 1138, Dark City, Life of Brian. Things to Come by H.G. Wells, The Ogre, Soylent Green.
It's people.
Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick's last statement. Insight that provides insight into higher cult activities. Wealthy movers and shakers showing the rites of sexual magic for regeneration. It kind of makes you think if this is Kubrick trying to show us what's going on for real behind the scenes. The Matrix 1, 2, and 3. The Village, Logan's Run, The Ninth Gate, The Final Cut, Running Man, Wag the Dog. That's just, a brief listing there. There's even more. I'm trying to find my... Sorry, I'm scrolling like a maniac here. But, it's just... I just found this, the whole stuff about Back to the Future, I had no idea that stuff was there, or it was there to be interpreted that way.
Yeah.
I didn't know about The Walk. I didn't know it was directed by Zemeckis. I didn't know it had to do with the Twin Towers. I didn't see the movie, so I wasn't really interested in it. So it's just, I don't know. What's your take on all this? It's your turn to talk. I'm tired.
Well, it makes you wonder. I mean, because Hollywood has always been subliminally putting little Easter eggs into movies, whether or not they're blatantly pointing to like things that seem like they're predicting the future, like the 911 situations, versus just regular Easter eggs that play, like a tribute to maybe a TV show or a movie that came before that it's honoring. So. It's hard to say, if Hollywood is, spoon feeding us the future and we just need to look at it, or if we're just actually going back to fit. I brought up Nostradamus earlier, and I know how much you love him, but it's kind of like, when something happens, people go, oh yeah, look at this. Nostradamus predicted this. But they're kind of like tailor making it to fit that quatrain.
They're so vague,
And so I use that as an example of Hollywood in the sense that are we just not going back and saying, hey, look at that. That predicted the future, or, here's another good example. You know why Star Trek was so popular for its time?
The first one?
Well, yeah, the original series, or even if you go into the next gen, is there was technology that is like, okay, now we have this. But the reality is that the producers of those shows were very much in tune with science and technology that was coming down the pipe. So it kind of
had an end somewhere.
So. And they talk about that behind the scenes with the original series. And like, for example, pads in the Next Generation.
That's what makes it so dang cool, though. But I didn't see anything sinister behind that.
But the thing is that, sure, they had these things, this technology on Star Trek, and then all of a sudden, many years down the road, it's like, hey, we've got these devices. It's almost like saying, okay, look, see, they predicted the future. No, not really, because... there were cutting-edge advisors that advised the show of what was coming down the pipe.
They just had some insider knowledge, maybe.
Exactly. So how do we take that same kind of ideas with the 911 stuff? Well,
is it insider knowledge?
One can always imagine that, when you're writing a story, a good writer can be in tune with his environment or her environment to come across as a futurist and predict the future.
Yes, that is true.
And so, 911, these towers were definitely, they're there. They're a big target in New York.
And what they stand for.
And what they stand for. So it's not like people are like, oh, I hate what they stand for, so I want to write a story that brings down the towers and blah, blah, blah. And so you get these little things. And then...
You can argue this either way, I think.
I think you... And I'm arguing in the sense that it's not necessarily predicting the future. It's just... It's storytelling that,
But it bothers me when I see the stuff that has the towers and the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Towers and the plane. Just over and over.
Like
it's really...
You brought up The Simpsons, with the Bart and Lisa thing, Lisa holding up the magazine that says $9 on it, and then he has the two towers, which gives you the impression of 9/11. And then you're dealing with the Supertramp album that we talked about earlier.
That's a little stretch.
When you flip the album, you see 9/11, and it's right above the Twin Towers. So it's just how you look at it. For me personally, I've always looked at there are things all around us that are kind of like a wave through time and space that is telling us of things to come. And how we look at things, can guide us into the future. So, I think that to some degree, it's this hive mentality that we've talked before to Solaris Blue Raven about, and the connections that we all are connected in some way.
I see what you're talking about. It's not that it's upside down. You flip the album a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
The towers are touching the U and the P on Supertramp, but they're covering up the bottom of the P and the U. So when you flip it, it looks like 911.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, it is what it is out there, and it's how we take this information in and balance out, the crazy with the possibility of the truth.
But what about people, maybe like me, like where I'm not being programmed, I'm not really awake, I'm just not paying attention at all, so it's kept just going right over my head, so I'm not being influenced, and it's not that I'm ignorant, it's just I'm like, huh? It just never freaking occurred to me, but I don't know.
Not to disparage what I see of you is that you really don't care as long as you've got a book in front of you.
I've just reached that age where I just want to be left alone to read.
And many times it reminds me of Meredith Burgess from The Twilight Zone, where he's got all these books to read, and all of a sudden he breaks his glasses and he can't read at all. I
just hold the book right next to my face.
I have no quorums. I joke around a lot with you about reading, but yeah, I think a lot of times you don't. Let me rephrase this. I envy you in a lot of ways, in the sense that I'm really in touch with everything, and it's a point where you get a saturation level that's very toxic, especially in the climate that we're living in now, especially with social media.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have an escape.
It's like I am so connected with all that stuff because of the show and everything else we do, that it's like it's hard to just it'd be different if we didn't have Space Boy Universe, and I think I would probably reach a point where I would just check out. I mean, the idea to me, I joke about going to live in a log cabin in the woods or something like that, or living on an island by myself. I don't think you would come with me because there would be no books, but that is kind of appealing, is to just get away from society. And because of all the crap that's going down,
people we know and are related to, etc. How many times have we seen, like on, for example, Facebook's like somebody would say, "Look, I'm going to step away for a while from social media. I need a break." I
kind of do it every once in a while, where I just
don't post for a while.
I don't check my own personal feed or whatever, or read, and it's because I have a very diverse set of friends, and when I say that, it's like
I thought you'd say I have a very particular set of skills.
I have a very particular set of skills. No, it's just my friends range from everything from the far left to the far right, and everything in between. And I do that on purpose because I've often said that this, and talked about this. The subject is that I want various different opinions, and in this climate we're in, we're almost getting like a certain segment of opinions, and it's not the whole truth. And so I keep all these friends so I can get the perspective that doesn't get to me.
But I've heard you say this so many times, it's starting to feel like you're saying that, like, well, I am so much better than you because I'm open-minded.
You always say stuff like that, and it's
and because I'm not like that.
You are not. Let's face it. You're the yin to my yang kind of situation.
I'll yin your yang.
And so the thing is that I don't. I give up on trying to. You're going to always say, "Well, you're just so better than all of us." It's not what I'm trying to do. I just want to keep an open mind about things.
But it just sounds like you're bragging about it.
I'm
at
not
this
bragging
point.
about it. I just want people to like, hey, wake up. Just because you have an opinion.
Well, speaking of waking up, do you believe in predictive programming? Let's sum it because we're about to hit the hard break.
Mm-hmm. There's something to be said about it.
I think you're like me. We don't really know quite what to think definitively, but we're open-minded enough to believe in something, but we're still skeptical.
There you go. That validates what I was just saying a little earlier. I'm willing to keep an open mind about things because
we're on the fence.
Yeah, I mean, keep an open mind. It means that, hey, when the truth comes to you, then hey, okay, I can go. We're ready for it. Just because you're on the fence doesn't mean that you're incapable of making a decision. It just means you need more information to make a decision. And if you keep that dialogue open, keep that communication open, you're going to get the answer down the pipe. And so that's what, predictive programming is for me, is that I want to keep an open mind. It doesn't mean that I'm wishy-washy and I waffle. No, it just means that I'm ready to accept the reality and accept the truth when it presents itself. So, would you agree to that, Sir Lana?
I'll agree to anything when we're up against a break like this.
Well, you didn't have to end it like that because I was setting it up for the break. So anyway,
yes,
Sir Lana,
I think you're correct. Yes.
Anyway, we'll be right back.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
All right, we're back, and Sir Lana is asking me a bunch of questions about cryptocurrency, and I do not. Let's see, I have Litecoin. Okay. I don't have Ethereum, although that is on my list.
Bitstamp, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, NEM.
Mm-hmm. Not on the list.
Dash and Ripple.
Nipple?
Ripple. EOS, Stellar, Cardano, and yeah, those are the ones that are out there.
Mm-hmm. Now, currently, what's in my wallet is
what's in your wallet?
Is Bitcoin, and I have Litecoin, but the price to get in on the Ethereum is a pretty reasonable rate, and I might consider buying some of that.
I'm fascinated by this, even before you purchased some cryptocurrency. I don't know why. It absolutely fascinates me. But you and I were talking a day or two ago about, you're telling me what the value of your stuff is. It's going up and down just like the stock market. Mm-hmm. And you buy the different types of currencies, like you're diversifying your portfolio and you're waiting to see what if kind of return your investment will ultimately get. And you're just going to sit on this like a set of gold bars, like a nest egg. So
right.
I think it's that I'm on board with it. I'm not making fun of you. It's interesting. If I had the cash to do it, I might do it too. It's just an interesting experiment to do. But it's just, I don't think it's going to go away. Now, the thing is, it's so volatile, just like the stock market goes up and down, up and down. But you were telling me there's a lot of news out there that says, oh, don't bother buying any cryptocurrency. It's just a waste of time and your money. It's all kind of a scam thing. And that it was coming from big names in banking, so they could do what?
So they could scoop it up. And beyond those banking names, even there was another name that was mentioned in some of my research was the Rothschilds.
Oh, I thought it was Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, well, no, they're involved in this too.
Okay.
The Wall Street guys are basically telling, hey, John Q. Public, don't buy this. This is a waste of time. And then they're going behind and scooping up and buying it while it's low. This is not uncommon.
Sounds like they're putting out misinformation.
This is very much like Wall Street when they buy stocks.
Should be illegal.
Buy low, sell high. But in this situation is that they're investing. In fact, they're trying to set up all these different things where they set up a like a NASDAQ, if you will.
Yes.
Or where
a trading floor.
A trading floor, if you will. And so that people can go in and buy immediately. Before you couldn't really, there was a waiting period when you have people buy it, but now they have it to where you can buy it instantly. I go onto my app, I can immediately get the coinage
because it's digital,
and bam, it's there. Before I had to wait 3 to 5 business days.
PayPal makes me wait that long to get money from my own banking account.
So this is great because I can, when the money is, or when the coinage is, or the cryptocurrency is at a certain level, I can get it quickly at that level and buy into it. But the thing is that it's coming. Once they set up these things in place to give people confidence that
it's not
they can
going
buy
away. These traditional institutions are trying to get in on it now.
And it seems volatile right now is because the people in Wall Street.
That's why you try to get on it now. Get some for yourself now, right?
Yeah. So once these things are put in place, then they're expecting this to skyrocket. I've heard things where within the next 6 to 12 months, we're talking about coinage going from around 7,000 up to 40,000 And that's pretty
that'll be the
significant.
highest it's ever been.
That's
It's never got above 20.
Because you're going to have all this infusion of money and people wanting to buy it.
So if you have $100 of Bitcoin and it goes up to 40, where it's still worth 100, or is it?
No, does
it
I don't know.
inflate?
I don't know what the percentage is, but yes.
Oh,
so
if you do the percentage, okay.
So if my coinage was bought in at, let's just say $100, I invested, right? So whatever that increase from 7,000 to 40, I'm looking at it, probably at least $5,000 and somewhere in there.
So it's like buying gold, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, this is the next frontier of investment. Back in the 30s, people were buying stocks and companies that were just coming online, and then over time they exploded and they made bunch of money.
Yes.
This is the new.
This fascinates. That's why this fascinates me, because this is new.
This is the new frontier.
This is the new frontier.
Yeah. Before cryptocurrency, there wasn't a way people could buy into something and become millionaires overnight.
Yeah, independent. Yeah.
And now we're at a stage with cryptocurrency that they're putting these things in place, and so that people have confidence in buying into it. So that once that's in place,
and that's the only thing. That's the only reason money exists, is because we have confidence in it. It's the only reason the dollar bill exists. When actually, what you have confidence is gold and silver, but we don't base anything on that anymore. But you can go get you some actual metal and hide it under your bed or something. But what fascinates me about cryptocurrency is that it rose from the dark web and came out to the light. And now look where we are. But what the thing is, you've got this cryptocurrency, this concept, this idea, but it is susceptible to, like other financial things, scams.
All right.
Like Ponzi schemes, which I don't fully understand what a Ponzi scheme is, but I know it's not a good thing. So they're saying scammers are making big money off people who want in on this latest craze of this gold rush, just like you just described, but don't understand how the technology works.
Right.
So this article says, last month, the technology developer Gnosis sold $12.5 million worth of GNO, that's its own in-house digital currency, in 12 minutes.
Right.
So they intended to fund development of an advanced prediction market and got admiring coverage from Forbes and Wall Street Journal. So on the same day, in Mumbai, a company called OneCoin was in the midst of a sales pitch for its own digital currency when the financial enforcement officers raided the meeting, jailing 18 OneCoin representatives, ultimately seizing $2 million more of their investor funds. So OneCoin was pitched against itself as the next Bitcoin. They pitched itself as the next Bitcoin. It was a Ponzi scheme. By the time the Mumbai bust, they had already moved at least $350 million in allegedly scammed funds through a payment processor in Germany.
See, it's kind of a Wild West right now. And with these...
it's exciting time.
These things that they're putting into place to build confidence in the cryptocurrency market will create a sense of security for a lot of people to buy into it. Prior to this, it was very Wild West, and but now, as they put these regulated things so that people can buy with confidence, it's going to be more a lucrative way for people to, if they buy into it, to make a lot of money out of it.
There's also something called cryptojacking, which sounds like fun. Like you're going to break your hand on it or something. Says something here about Firefox, the browser, my beloved browser, Firefox,
Mine too.
Block cryptojacking malware in new browser releases. Well, I didn't know that was a thing. As part of the anti-tracking initiative expected to be implemented over the next few months, Firefox cites a study by browser extension Ghostery stating that 55.4% of the total time required to load an average website is spent loading third-party trackers. Now that I totally believe. This garbage is loading before you get to your content behind the scenes. So in the future, Firefox is going to block such practices such as crypto mining scripts that silently mine cryptocurrency on users' devices by default. They must be talking on your phone or something. Right?
I don't
blocking
know.
it by blocking and tracking and offering a clear set of controls. Firefox is trying to provide users more choice over what data they share with websites. How is a website going to get? Is it like trying to get to your digital wallet if you have it accessed through a browser? That's the only thing I can think of. If it's sitting on an app of your phone, how is this website going to get to the app on your phone unless you're on a browser on your phone? I don't understand. What am I not understanding? I don't know.
I'd have to read more about that because
crypto jacking.
Because yeah,
I don't have to look that up. I mean, is this a valid concern?
I know that Coinbase is the application I use for purchasing
your wallet?
my cryptocurrency. Yes, and it's very secure. And I mean, they made me go through all sorts of stuff.
It's just crypto jacking is the secret use of your computing device to mine cryptocurrency.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
So they're just using you as a way to process stuff. It's not necessarily harming you. It's just...
Here's one. You remember the old days where SETI had this program where it helped you to...
Oh, yes. You did the dirty work.
You did all the dirty work.
But you volunteered to do it.
And they reaped the benefits of the...
My ex-brother-in-law used to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did it too. But, it's kind of like crypto mining.
I'm looking at malware bytes, good old malware bytes that you download to prevent and scan and get rid of malware on your computer.
Right.
Used it forever.
Still use it.
They have an all about crypto jacking guide on their site if you want to go look into that. If you're worried about being crypto jacked, I'm just going to keep saying crypto jacking because it's a cool, interesting, kind of quasi naughty word. I just wanted to say it. But like I said, I'm fascinated by this. I'm kind of jazzed that you've gotten into this world of cryptocurrency.
All right.
Because I would say all the people I know and work with and talk to on a daily basis are not into it, don't know about it, don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at least I feel like we have this cool exclusive club between the two of us or something, you know?
Well, it goes back. For some time, I wanted to do the cryptocurrency thing, and I even looked at, mining and, sorry about that. So finally, recently, things made it possible for me to start, buying some cryptocurrency and, the ease of technology with apps and stuff on your phone and has made that a reality. And I'm excited, when it recently took a major plunge, I was like, okay, I shouldn't freak out. Just ride the
stock market.
Yeah, just ride the wave. And sure enough, everything's coming back. And I am aware of what's going on in the market.
I would think that situation with the cryptocurrency, the market, is a lot less upsetting than the real market.
Well, yeah, I would say so. And I think it's the tech part of it with this cryptocurrency that I find it appealing because, it's technology and it's something that we love to dabble with. And it'll be fun to see what happens within the next 6 to 12 months with this cryptocurrency.
I'm such a hoe bag when it comes to technology, like the latest computer. I'm like, I drool. I'm like, I don't even need it. I got a decent computer. Something about computers, technology, gadgets, and devices. I can't get enough. Maybe it's a sickness. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Are you down with the sickness?
Get up. Get down with the sickness.
All right. So where do we go from here, Solana? We
intend to be back next weekend.
Yeah.
Unless something happens.
Next week, I believe we're going to be talking. It's not going to be a whole show, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Malaysia flight that went missing.
Well, I might see if there's some updated research. See if what we know now, what we didn't know then.
All right. We'll definitely dabble into that, and
it's cold in here.
And talk about other things, and right.
Yeah, sorry, I just caught a headline that bothered me.
Oh, can you share with the family?
Yahoo Mail is still scanning your emails for data to sell to advertisers. Yeah, maybe it's time to move on.
You know, it's hard because, you know, I've had a Yahoo email account
since the 90s.
Yes, since the late 90s, and it's been hard to, like, you know, I tell myself, okay, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm not going to. I'm going to get.
So
rid
many
of it.
things are tied to it, though.
Yeah, it's
sites and
that's what's the problem is so many different sites.
They start moving it over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it just caught my eye, but yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll try to see what updated research I can add to that, because we have talked about it before, not officially on Spaceboy Universe, but we will. I'll go back and talk about all that stuff. Because I won't get into it now, but there was one theory about that I was like, what? It was kind of far-fetched, but it made me think. So I'd like to discuss that. And it was from a Linda Moulton Howe interview, believe it or not. And maybe I can find similar stories like that are an enigma, that don't have a clear-cut answer, but aren't something you've heard over and over and over, you know,
right?
Along those lines. I just like the idea of, like, finding a topic, trying to find what is the truth, what's the answer, trying to reach a conclusion, and then, you know, helping people figure out how to do better research on it, or, you know, maybe have you thought about this instead of that, and, you know. That's what I would get out of doing all this research. It makes me think. I learn things I've never heard about before. Maybe I believe them, maybe I don't. But I like to tell you all about them so you can make up your own mind.
Yeah, speaking of Linda Moulton Howe, she was on Coast to Coast recently on the 30th. I guess that would have been, what? 2
days ago.
2 days ago? Friday? I guess. No, Friday. Thursday. That's right, Thursday. Yeah, she talked about cattle mutilations in Nebraska.
They continue, I suppose.
Touched upon the ferocious 2018 wildfires this season. Yeah, if you can get a chance and you've got the Coast to Coast app, you should definitely check her out on that. Of course, her website too, earthfiles.com. Just doing a little plug for our favorite
that doesn't know we exist, but that's all right.
We're not worthy. Anyway,
we met her.
Yeah, it is true. I love that picture. You know, the pictures of me in my
being
space
normal
outfit.
And serious in a spacesuit, and she's like,
it was
deer in headlights.
It was kind of like a Kanye moment too. I said, "Hey, I don't mean to interrupt your conversation, but hey, Linda, you probably remember me from last year, probably not. And this is my wife. I wanted to introduce you to her, and you know." And
I'm like, "What? How did I get dragged into this? I'm trying to get out of here."
Meanwhile, Solana's taking the picture, and there's Linda and myself.
While she was distracted.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's like looking at me at the spacesuit, like, okay, it's the middle of the desert, and people are, you know, looking at me and wondering, God, is he not hot in that thing?
No, actually, I think, you know,
the sun had gone down.
Yeah, and you're in white, so it's not, you
know. But yeah, I love that moment. I'll always remember that, and the chance to get to talk to her. And hey, look, you don't have to be that way. It was a joint moment at that time.
I didn't know what was going on half the time. I was so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we intend to be back with. What did you say that topic? The Malaysia,
yeah.
Along with some other stuff we'll go through.
I mean, as Solana pointed out, it's probably an hour's worth of information, so it won't be a whole show, but, you know, we'll dive into it and do some updates and, you know, talk a little bit about that and put our own unique spin on it. And
I think there's probably more info out there that I could
Yeah, it's been a while since that.
It's been a while, so there could be some updates. So that'll be interesting to talk about.
And then as we approach,
we had some other ideas too.
You know, the 28th is coming up on us pretty quickly.
I have some ideas about that too.
The last weekend of September will be our third anniversary on Spaceboy Universe, and
that'll be the 29th, which is like the day after we
Can you believe we've done this for, well, it's been a little bit more than 3 years because...
It feels just like marriage.
What, you
longer than it is.
You sitting in your chair reading a book on your phone while I'm watching TV?
No, I'm just saying the length and feel and the heaviness of it feels just like a marriage.
Oh, I see.
That was very double entendre. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant.
Sure, whatever.
Whatever, okay. Let's move past that quickly.
Okay, we got a few more minutes here, Solana. You know, don't make it seem like we're crawling to the finish line.
Just reiterate that we have recorded a video before the show, and you'll upload that. Mm-hmm. We got some video content of us talking about top 10 or top whatever lists. You'll hear me, you won't see me, but you'll see Space Boy, so go check those out.
Have you seen some of the videos we've done recently? Solana has got her like an avatar when she's talking, and then you see my mug, you know, actually live.
He did all that, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm handling that content. Yes,
yeah,
I am.
He's doing it. Good for you. I'm glad. It's awesome.
Good for you.
I'm not being Christian Bale sarcastic.
Yeah, whatever. There's actually got those segments that will be uploaded video wise, and then plus I did another segment dealing with the Star Wars recent thing with Ryan Johnson.
And if you're dying to know more about that, please go check out that thing, and you can feel free to email him and discuss that by them with just Space Boy.
Don't be that way.
I have to be that way.
I'm providing a service to our audience.
He called me on the phone on my way home from work, and I guess he was about to get off work and be on his way home, and I said, you can talk about anything but Star Wars. And he started to go on a rant about how he doesn't talk about it. I said, you ranting about how you think you don't talk about it that much is talking about it. Stop. Well, change the subject.
It's I could start ranting about Star Wars. Star Trek once that starts back up.
Well, I might actually have things to say in response, but I'm not going to be like so tied up with it, you know.
I wish we could all be like you. See how that works?
Something about, I think the whole rebooting of the movies and then the Discovery thing, something about that killed it all for me. Well, my interest in it.
The thing is, the reason why they did the reboot was because Paramount, that makes the movies, couldn't get or use the rights directly because of CBS owns the right for the television series. So they had to make it a little bit different in order to be able to use their whatever.
Whatever, it's a cop-out.
You're exactly, and it's all because of Moonbutt over there. And
well, he's gone now, isn't he?
No, he's still, they kind of like gave him desk duties or whatever because of...
Demoted.
They moved him away.
However... my interest has
from the
waned.
secretarial pool.
However, I still care about what has gone before and is out there in archival. TNG, DS9, Voyager. October, end of October is our wedding anniversary, and because we bonded over sci-fi and Trek especially, we were married at the Trek experience when it existed in Las Vegas. So when our anniversary rolls around, we watch some specific episodes of Star Trek to always celebrate. We always come back to In the Pale Moonlight from DS9 because we enjoy that on multiple levels. Also, it's the best written episode, I think. The only one behind that was probably A Measure of a Man from TNG. So I still care about the older stuff. This jerking me around with this new universe, alternate timelines, and I just don't care.
Well, it's a reason. It's because, rights and stuff. And
I get that, but that's just stupid.
Well,
I can think it's stupid.
It is what it is, and what can we do about it? All we can do is
celebrate the things we know.
It's kind of like the Fry meme, take my money. Well, if you don't like it, then don't give the money.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not giving him any of my time or money.
Speaking of time and money, it looks like we've reached our conclusion of our program. We appreciate you for tuning in to the network, and we will see you next week. So good night, everyone, from the big city of Houston.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Executive producer is Sir Lana. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K, K28, Dino, Solars Blue Raven, Patrick Sporer, Bob and Beverly N. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.